Hello everyone. So this is Satya Prakash Tripathi and I am back with my fourth session on entity framework code first approach. So so like basically like this session is a continuation on the migrations concept that we have started discussing in our third session. So as already discussed that there are two approaches of migrations. So the first one is is the auto is the automated approach that we have already like discussed, and the second one is the code based approach that we are that we that we are going to like discuss in our today's session. So to start with, let's straight go to the Visual Studio and start writing. So like before getting started, like I would request everyone to just go through my previous videos. Um, yeah, else it would become difficult. It would become difficult to like understand. So like here that most of that code is already like written. We have this employee class and it has these four properties: the ID, the first name, the last name, the age, and the address. And then we have this employee DB context class, and it returns a DB set of employees. And finally, we have this web.config file, and it has that connection string, and the name of the connection string is similar to the employee DB context class, and is one of that convention that entity framework follows. And there are ways where you can have it different, but like we are not going to like discuss on that. And I have specified the database name as my test database, and when we execute, then this is the database that would get created. Now for that code based approach, there are three commands. So the first one is the enable migrations. The second one is that add migration, and the third one is the update database. Okay. So like let me just go here and show you that the database does not exist. Refresh. Okay. Now let's go to the tools, to the NuGet package manager and the package manager console. Let's execute the first command, enable. Just write enable hyphen, and then you can hit the tab key. So enable migrations. Okay. Now let's hit enter. So what it would do is it would create a migrations folder here, and inside that it would add that configuration, the class. And here you can see, just a minute. Okay. So like here you can see that the property automatic migrations enabled is set to false. Now in our previous video, like where we were discussing on the automated approach, this was set as true. So now is the second command, add migration, and just hit enter. So like what this command does is it creates a class file which stores the changes that have been done in your model class, and and okay, and that's and that's like what we intend to get migrated in our database tables. So I, yeah, I know that like probably this expression is still not clear, but like once I start showing you like what's happening, it would become clear. So let me provide a name here. It's asking for the parameter name, so I would say test db schema and then hit enter. So like what it would do is it would create a file under the migrations folder, and then suffix the parameter name with a like unique key. So see here, now this is the parameter name that I had provided, and it has to suffix it with a like unique key. Okay, so it has all the changes that we have done in our employee model class, and that's what we intend should go in my in my database. So let's go to the definition and see like what it says. It says that the designer code for this migration file includes a snapshot for your current code first model. This snapshot is used to calculate the changes to your model when you scaffold the next migration. If you make additional changes to your model that you want to include in this migration, then you can rescaffold it by running add migration test db schema again. Okay. So now the third command is the update database, and I would specify verbose. So like what verbose would do is it would show you all the SQL statements that are getting executed. Okay, so these are the statements that have been executed. So they create tables and the insert statements. Just scroll down a bit. Okay, so I see that the database here is created, and if I execute this, I would see that there is no data. So let's go back to my configuration file, and I would write here some code to like seed the data in the database. So let's write context dot employees dot add or update. So the add or update method, just a minute. So the add or update method is like the upsert command. So the update insert command. So like what this update so like what this add or update method does is that whatever like so like whatever information you are providing here, yeah, it just checks with the database table to see that whether the record exists or not. So if that record exists, it updates it. Yeah, yeah, and if it does not exist, then it inserts the record. Now in order to like check if the record exists or not, we have to provide the unique column name. We have to provide the unique column name with which it will like check that records. Now the problem here that we have is that in our employee class, the primary key is id. Now it is an identity column, means auto incrementing column, and you cannot use the auto incrementing column in the add or update method. So instead instead of the id, I would specify that use the property first name to like check that whether that record exists or not. And now I would provide the records. So I would just type in new employee. Employee. The first name would be Jack. Last name Smith. Age would be 32. Okay, now let's copy this, and first name Mary, age 28. Just hit Control KD to format. Let's build the code. And in the NuGet package manager console, just hit the update database again. So it's executed now. Let's go and see if it's inserted or not. Okay, so these two records have been inserted. Okay, I did not provide the address here, so I would just provide the address as well. Some location in US, and let's copy it. Some location in UK. Okay, let's build. And then hit update database again. Now this time the address should be there. Okay, now let's go to the employee class, and I would add one more property here, string middle name, get set. Okay, and in the configuration file I would add Jack middle name. So just provide W, Jack W Smith, and here middle name Jack, I'm sorry, Mary S. Smith. Okay. So I've added two extra, so I've added an additional property here. Now we will have to execute the add migrations again, okay, so that entity framework scaffolds the changes again in their migrations file. So let's say add migration, and I would specify a different name here now, test db schema. So it's new test, I'm sorry, just a minute, it's not working, just a minute, new test db schema, and then hit enter. So now let's go to this file and see, and it has added that the additional change that I have done in the employee class. Now let's execute the update migration again. Sorry, update database again. Okay, and now this time we would provide the target migration file name. So I would provide this new file name because we want the changes to be done in the database on the basis of this file. So let's copy and paste and hit enter. Okay, now let's execute the select query, and you can see that the new column has been added here. The same you can see from here as well. Okay, now if we like want to roll back the changes, then we can execute the update database command again, but this time then we will have to like use this migrations file name, so the previous one. So let's replace this name with their previous file name and hit enter. So it says the reverting migrations, and that name of that migration file name that was used to add that column. And now let's go to my SQL Server Studio, SQL Server Management Studio, and see. Okay, so that column has been removed. Let's refresh this, and you would see that it's you would see that it's removed as well. It's removed from here as well. So like with this, we come to the end of the session. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.